Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ntpa Recap Show, episode number 3, with your hosts, Dom Santina and John Dunlop. This week, there were 2 Grand National events, with the Fort Recovery Grand Nationals in Fort Recovery, Ohio, and the Meade County Ntpa Grand Nationals in Brandenburg, Kentucky. We will recap the action for both days of the Grand National polls and also look forward to the events coming this weekend. John, I think we're going to start with Fort Recovery. If you want to,
indeed, yep, sounds great, Dom. Let's have a look at the 4 Grand National divisions that participated at Fort Recovery this past weekend. And as a reminder, the proceedings from Ambassador Park are still available on demand viewing at ntpa.tv. In Superstock Diesel, it was famine and then feast for standings leader Travis Schlabach. While Mike Beck was celebrating his second Fort Recovery win in as many appearances with high-tech redneck, Schlabach was regretting an out-of-bounds disqualification that slashed his lead over Esden Lane's Diggin' Fever to only 1 point. But Bone Twister showed championship-caliber mettle on Saturday night with a dominant 15-foot win over Kent Payne's Super Rooster. Payne still made up some ground on the leader with a 56-point weekend, while Lane's Fever broke to drop him to 5th in the standings. Steve Burge also suffered significant damage to Lock and Load on Saturday, but they all have a helpful week off to freshen up before Beck's hometown pull in Napoleon, Ohio on August 14th.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an interesting class there in the Superstock Diesel tractors. Good polling all weekend long. Mike Beck continuing to have good runs. Another win here in Fort Recovery. And when we look at the points, it's still kind of tight there in the diesel super stocks.
It is indeed. There's starting to be a little bit of separation between Lane's 2 tractors, with Redline Fever missing out on, let's see, the weekends are starting to run together for me now. He took zeros in, what was before Chapel Hill? Rockwell? Yeah, he was, I think, out of both hooks at Rockwell. So that really cost him a chance in the standings. Of course, with Lane controlling both 5th and 6th position, he would get his choice of which one to bring to the end early. But it looks like at this point, he would probably only get 1 in.
Yeah, sitting there just 16 points back in 5th. Bone Twister on top, 3 points up. Then it's 8 back to 3rd, 9th in 4th, and 5th, 6th. And then as you go down the order, of course, it gets more and more bigger gap between the points.
Yep. Of course, I mean, it's with, I think, still 7 hooks to go it is. So, I talk about a 55-point advantage, and that can evaporate pretty quickly, actually, over that many hooks to go. It really is an endurance class. That is what Superstock Diesel has become over the years. There seems to be sadly, some sort of catastrophic breakage among the leaders about every week. And so as a result of that, it's the one who can sort of last man standing, or last lady, I should also say, with Tabitha DeMars in the mix and Lily Ross there last year, or 2 years ago now, the tie with Mike Beck. When those competitors are in action, always very strong. But it's whoever can kind of sustain throughout an entire season that has the best chance at the championship.
Yeah, so they do have 7 hooks left to go. They have a hook in Napoleon, Bowling Green twice, of course, Hoopston, Illinois twice, and then Sandwich, Illinois to round it out. So.
Yep, and the sandwich thing, for those not familiar with the Sandwich Fair, it is a day-night doubleheader. So it is a very interesting affair there at the Sandwich Fair. All 4 divisions that poll on Saturday poll twice, and many a championship has been won or lost in a period of about 6 hours. You have to be able to get your equipment out there and survive Saturday afternoon, and then maybe make the strong run Saturday evening. Too much wrenching in the afternoon, too much unpredictability can really hurt your chances of the title if you win into the weekend leading.
All right, John, on to our next class, the minis.
Yep. Man, that'll be modified minis. Brian Mcdonald got a late start in Grand National competition in 2021, but he's trying to make up for lost distance a whole track length at a time. McDonald's all-new Very Little Sanity was particularly unstoppable on Saturday night, where his 50-foot margin back to second place first induced a sled reset, and he still came back to win by nearly 20 feet. The steady throttle hand of Ken Veeney continues to pace the division, for even though Final Farmall's streak of 3 third-place finishes was broken, his 4th on Saturday kept him in the lead, albeit over a new challenger, Sam McCrary and Carbon Copy. He's now 4 points behind. Bruce Slaw's Session 2 second was sufficient to salvage a 50-point weekend and a current 3rd place, which is now good for 6 back going into Henry County.
Yeah, it was. I think, man, it's going to be tough. Thing about Ken Vini and the funny little farm all is both nights he ended up by way of the draw getting the test hook. Now, the first night he had the first draw and decided to turn it down. He actually accepted it, and then about 30 seconds later decided to turn it down. Came back and had almost the identical same pass in the identical same spot. I think he pulled a foot further the second time. Still finished in the third position. And then he blew a blower belt the second night. And after the sled reset, turns out he was the first one to go. So he ended up being the test puller again, comes down the track, was going to accept it again, realized he blew the blower belt, and then decided to turn it down and come back and put himself just a couple feet shy of another third place finish.
See, that's some insight I did not have. I was watching that from home on ntpa.tv, but without benefit of a radio, I, one, didn't know that he had initially accepted the Friday hook, and two, that it was a blower belt that he broke. I do remember Vini coming to a very sudden stop there on that first run on Saturday night, and I was just kind of wondering if it may have been serious, because it sounded like the engine may have even locked up, but of course apparently it did not, and he was able to make a second run and get fourth place, and that shows the kind of consistency that you get from a Hall of Fame competitor like that, a racing Hall of Fame competitor, and sort of one looks to the future in polling as well, quite possibly.
Yeah, absolutely. He that's what they talked about Saturday night when he got the fourth place finish, is that, I mean, it's very rare to see someone come back, and I mean, to do it back-to-back nights, come back and have the identical same pass at the beginning of the class and the end of the class.
And how many do it from like the 8th position in the lineup? You don't really figure on having many test pool chances in the 8th position in the lineup, but that's the way the cards fell, and Ken made the most of it. So he got 4 runs for the price of 2. You can't beat that.
Yes, he did. Brian Mcdonald, as you mentioned, and
I don't know how you stop that tractor. I'm looking at that thing Saturday night saying he could have dragged that thing around the pits. I mean, there was no stopping that tractor that night. He had the combination working.
Yeah, he did. And he had it hooked up all weekend long, picking up both the wins, as you mentioned. And yeah, that's after he made that pass. It's kind of when we decided to make the call that the sled needed to be changed, because we knew there was other people that could come in there and possibly go even further. So
yeah, I'm not entirely sure about that, but you were running out of room there a little bit too. So it was a wise move to make the change. You hated to see it waste the run for Brian, but at least he did come back and continue to win it, as I think he just was head and shoulders above. Brian has been nearly that dominant at good stretches in two-wheel drive. I've seen him do very well at Toma. Just seemed to be well ahead of the competition there, but I don't think I've ever seen that kind of dominance in Mini. For that, it was just amazing to watch.
It was. All right, on to our Unlimiteds.
Yes, let's do the Unlimiteds. In Unlimited, it's now 2 wins apiece for the established heavy hitters. First, defending champion Joe Ader's Polar Air, which was victorious on Friday with a run about as rousing as Mcdonald's from earlier in the evening. Then, 2-time division champion Adam Bauer's Cross-Threaded, which squeaked by a promising run from David Richardson's new Foursome. And also Chuck Knapp's Screamin' D, the 4-time champion, which was held winless on the weekend, but scored 55 points to keep Bauer and Ader at bay with a 2- and 3-point bulge. The Unlimiteds are off until Bowling Green, and then settle things a week later in Wellington, Ohio, at the Friday Night Spectacular.
Yeah, I don't know. Adam Bauer may be looking back at the end of the season and thinking about Chapel Hill and saying that was the big turning factor in this whole season. That it's got him moving in the right direction. Now he picks up the win Saturday, and then on Friday, Joe Eder just Polar Air, great pass. It looked like Craig Corzine was going to get the win there. He comes down with a 156, puts it 30 feet farther than everyone else, and really pulls out the win, does Eder. And Chuck Knapp just sitting there consistent. I think he had a 4th or 5th place finish on Saturday too. So, but if Bauer continues to click off a couple wins here, he's really going to put that pressure on Knapp.
That's the biggest thing, is that they're all tied at 2 apiece now with the wins. And so really, if it gets down to that tight point battle, you've got, very, very few runners in the class, so not an opportunity to make a big point chunk. So you got to figure it's going to be one of those 3 at the end of the year. Although, again, David Richardson really seems like he's putting things together. He could make a run at like 2nd or 3rd place, but one order to see if he can climb over enough tractors to get there. I've watched the Unlimited division now from sort of an inside seat here for a number of years, and I'm not sure which I'm more entertained by. a dominant wire-to-wire performance, pretty much like Chuck Knapp had for 3 of his 4 Grand National Championship seasons, or that Joe put together last year, or a nip and tuck battle. I don't know. It's fun to see dominance, and at the same time in that division, it's fun to see a different winner every night. I don't know which I like better, but I like the looks of this year's race.
Yeah, I'm looking right now here at the results. They both, as you mentioned, they both have 2 wins. Bauer and Knapp each have a 3rd. And then the advantage for Knapp is that he has a 4th, while the other 2 have a 5th place finish.
Just incredible. You're going to 4th places to settle. If there were a tie right now, you go to 4th places to settle it. That's good competition right there.
Yep. So it's going to be interesting to see with 3 hooks left to go how this one's going to play out.
Yep. Yeah, only 3 to go. I mean, they are about as far along as any of the races. I think only super semis have also 3 to go. If I'm remembering correctly, because I think 2-wheel drives still have Hoopston after Bowling Green, so they've got 4 to go. So I think it's down to the Unlimiteds and the super semis that have that few hooks.
It's going to be fun to watch.
It will. All
right, on to super stock diesel trucks.
Yeah, let's talk about a class that's pulling this coming weekend. So in that class, super stock diesel 4-wheel drive, pulling both in Mount Sterling and Salem. They were coming out of the woodwork to pull at the fort, as several new 2021 members and per hook vehicles mixed it up with the established regulars and jostled the results page. On Friday, Brian Withrow made his first appearance of the year aboard Nut Job 2, a winning effort over Justin Gerhardt's cream of the crop. That's Withrow's 2nd ever win, dating to Hutchinson in 2019. And on Saturday, Kent Crowder's Shy Diesel held off the caretaker of Chase Eller and the division-leading Angry Shine of Todd Dugan. In fact, the weekend resulted in a swap of leaders within Dugan's stable, as the penetrating Spray Ford truck, which had led all season, met up with its first tough weekend. Can Dugan go out west and right the ship? Well, as it happens, the Western Illinois Grand Nationals event was the site of Todd Dugan's first ever win 2 years ago with that truck.
It's going to be interesting. He's got to feel pretty good, though, knowing that both of his trucks are sitting on top of the championship standings. A 3rd place finish on Friday night helped him out for sure and put that Angry Shine truck up on top. 6 points between his 2 trucks, and then it's another 2 extra points back to the truck in 3rd, being the cream of the crop. So got to feel pretty confident having 2 of your trucks up top.
Absolutely, and it shows you that he's running well this year with both. But you also start to wonder if team orders kind of come into play. And he's the driver of both trucks, so he really does get to decide. But you figure that one truck is going to take points away from the other one if it finishes higher. So if he's just looking to win a championship with either one and doesn't have a preference, and this is, of course, not to discount the other 3 regular runners in the class that would like to chase him down, but among those that he has been competing with mostly this year, one truck wins, the other truck's going to lose that point. So does he really put his effort into that, or does he kind of look and say, I need that truck to stay ahead? Maybe I don't run as hard tonight with this other one. That can play into things.
And that all comes down to what draw you get as well, because let's say he gets the Angry Shine truck and gets a good pull out there and a good distance, puts him in the top 1, 2, 3 spots. Now, like you say, do you not run the penetrating spray truck as hard and kind of just go for a mid-pack finish? That way you don't take points away from yourself.
Yep, it's all a consideration. But I don't think that's quite Todd Dugan's style, now that I think of it. He wants 1st and 2nd every night. So if he has a chance at it, he'll probably go for it.
Oh, I believe so. It'll be interesting to see how he plays it out, though, the rest of the year.
Yep, there's strategy involved in that too. And again, that is not at all to dismiss Nick Gillette's Top Shelf, which seems to be coming on very nicely. Had a nice Saturday at Fort. And Justin Gerhardt had a very nice weekend as well. So I mean, it's far from over, but one figures that Dugan has the natural advantage there with 2 in the class.
All right, so that wraps up the events from Fort Recovery on the Grand National side.
Yep.
Let's head on over to Brandenburg, Kentucky, and talk about the Grand National action over there.
Indeed. Well, you and Matt and Alan Washburn and Miles Krieger were entertaining us all there with the Ntpa.tv broadcast from Fort Recovery. There was another great Grand National event, also very near the Indiana border. That it was underway at the Meade County Ntpa Grand Nationals in Brandenburg, Kentucky, which is just across the river from Corden, Indiana, and about 40 miles west of Louisville. And it had its usual spectacular show, and even mid-afternoon rains on Saturday could not dampen the enthusiasm. Not filmed for streaming or television. I just have to describe Brandenburg to you. Kind of picture an indoor arena with the roof off. That's about the best way I can describe Brandenburg to you. It takes a tunnel to get in and the same tunnel to get out, so it can get a little bit congested, and you have to be a little bit patient, and it takes a while to get down that one track all night long, but it's worth it. It is a brilliant venue, and it's a place that just an intimate setting, about as intimate as an outdoor, wide-open setting can be. It just really doesn't feel wide open. It feels like you're in an enclosed space, and pullers and fans both just love it. They love the natural amphitheater, as they refer to it down there. So let's first talk about the divisions that you will not see the rest of this weekend. Winners in four-wheel drive were Larry Peterson's Profab Geared Up and Gary Varner's Fast Break Ford, but continuing to scale the standings ladder was a Dodge, the Fatheads Eyewear of Jake Zering, which it got its way up to 54 points in climbing over Ted Skelton's Rock for the points lead. Barry Cobb was the second biggest mover with Hitman, earning 53 points to move into the fifth Enderley pull-off transfer slot with just Bowling Green and Wasion to go. In light superstock, they let Jacob Fuqua's Tennessee Tracks across the border, and he ran home with both trophies. But Jacob's not running for Grand National points this year. Jason Hootman is, however, and his 2 second places, therefore, were good for 60 points with the Commander. He used those points to draw within 2 markers of Adam Spielberg's Detonator Black. Spiegelberg and Marcus Wedelson's Gunpowder and Lead each had 57-point weekends to maintain their holds on first and third places, respectively. Now for a look at Brandenburg divisions that are also appearing this weekend. Brian Deck's drive for a third top-tier title for his late dad Rod's Dream On, Case IH, was furthered by a win on Friday and a second on Saturday. Ryan Anderson has got to be wondering what he has to do. His Checking Out International got 56 points this weekend and still lost ground to Deck. While it may look like a 2-horse race, the Superfarm schedule is really backloaded, with Mount Sterling and Salem the first of 6 Illinois hooks for the division, of which 4 come in September. And how about Jason Benser? His Plastic Money John Deere has been steadily improving throughout his rookie campaign, and he broke through in Meade County on Saturday night for his first national win. Congratulations to Jason and his team. Who will be the next to make that venerable list of Grand National winners? Well, it could be Pro Stock puller Spencer Swanevek, who's getting closer and closer with a third and a second, his best 2 finishes to date, aboard Coal-Fired. But there was no knocking off Mark Lawyer this weekend. Lawyer's July ended as it began, in Victory Lane, which he did in Rockwell, when his wrapped up with a vengeance John Deere 5020 first edged Julia Ray's Mac Daddy by about 5 inches, and then topped Swanevek by 9 feet. Lawyer moved up to third in the standings as a result, but Rob Russell's Workhorse Pro hauled home 53 points over the 2 hooks to stretch his lead to 12 over Mike Connie's Mac Nasty. And we would be remiss if we did not also bring you up to speed on the state of the fairs in the 4th Grand National Division in competition this weekend, and that's Light Unlimited. After a flurry of appearances, including the Clay Hill Summer Sizzler on the first weekend of June and the Budweiser Dairyland at the end of the month, the lights have been shut off for more than a month, although several of the participants have stayed in sharp condition by pulling with regional mods or with a Grand National mod or unlimited divisions. Leading the Light Unlimited division is Steve Bollinger's Money Pit by a single point on the strength of a sweep of the opening weekend in Western Tennessee. Given how that vehicle has run in heavy unlimited competition since, one has to give the 2018 champion the same edge to build a point advantage in his home state leading into Bowling Green. That is, until one considers the 2 other former champs that are chasing him. After an early foray into modified, 2015 division champion Keith Wason and Super B have seemingly devoted themselves to winning their second twin-engine title. Meanwhile, Doug Theobald, currently 6 points back, is heading into a stretch in which he alternated first and third place back in 2019 between Mount Sterling, Salem, and the Bowling Green 2 hooks. He'll want more of the former first places than the latter third places if he wants to make up ground and claim back-to-back titles.
A lot going on there, John. I think the Pro Stock class probably has our biggest points gap so far this season between first and second as I look through the results here. But 12 points between the 2 of them there. Always got to love a first-time winner. Congrats on that. And Swanevec, yeah, definitely getting that tractor fired up here. Third and second. We'll see if he can make something happen here in the coming weeks.
Yep. On to pros like that, it doesn't seem to be common to have a large gap like that, but I've seen large gaps like that disappear down the stretch as well. So I would say 12 points is not secure by any means, although you got to figure with a steady hand like Rob Russell at the hill, he's going to do what it takes to just kind of keep marking time and having good points weekends. He knows what that's like from Superstock way back in the day. But you never know. Each weekend, disaster can strike. You can just have a poor draw, have just a poor run, and there's enough vehicles in the class to upset you. But we'll see how it goes. Head into some of the bigger classes of the year one would expect there in Bowling Green as well. But first, of course, Illinois.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a first, 3 seconds, and a third. So that tells you so far on how he's got that points lead. But there's still 10 hooks to go.
Yep. Yeah, very busy 3-week stretch, 4-week stretch, really, counting Wellington. But you've got two in Illinois in two different locations. It's worth noting too. So there's travel time in between, and you got Napoleon, then of course Bowling Green and Wellington. So a very busy stretch there for the Pro Stocks coming up.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. That championship is starting to get stretched out, but there is still plenty of time for the rest of the class to make up that ground. All right, well, it's going to be a busy week here at the NTPA as well, starting this week. Actually, it's going to start with the poll you're headed to in about 2 days, John. On Thursday, you're going to head up to the Monroe County Fairgrounds in Monroe, Michigan.
Yep. That is a pro-national event, so it's all regional national classes with a raised pro-national purse. So very excited about that and hope to draw competitors from all around the area interested in pulling for NTPA.
Yep, and then we do have a Grand National this weekend, as John has kind of hinted at, 2 different locations. On August 6th, we'll head to Mount Sterling, Illinois for the Western Illinois Grand Nationals, which will feature the Light Unlimited's Pro Stock, Super Farm, and Super Stock Diesel 4x4 trucks. Then those same 4 classes will hit the road and head on over to Salem, Illinois on Saturday, August 7th for the Marion County NTPA Grand Nationals.
Sounds great. And I want to make sure that everybody is aware that you can check out all the point standings that we just mentioned. I know that goes by awfully fast when spoken. So if you want to read up on all that stuff, there are really several locations to find them, all on ntpapoll.com, POLL.com. We talked a good bit about Grand National point standings. I think in coming weeks, we might want to start talking a bit about Enderley point standings as well, as we have invitational berths that need to be settled for the Saturday, September 18th All-Star Invitational Poll in Champaign County at the Champaign County Fairgrounds in Urbana, Ohio, the NTPA Enderley Pull-Off. And so you can find the standings for those at the bottom of our point standings page. It's called the Road to the Enderley, and there are different standings for the regional divisions for the Enderley berths from what there are for the regional championship. So make sure that you're aware of what you're running for if you're a competitor, or what you're rooting for if you're a fan.
And also, you can go visit ntpa.poll.com and find the schedule as well. So you can find out all the event information and upcoming schedule for any of the local, regional, or national Grand National polls. The Region 2 is going to be very busy because on Monday they'll also head to Urbana, Ohio for the Champaign County Fair poll. And there's also a Region 2 poll on Sunday in Morley, Michigan for the celebration on the pond. So a lot of action going on all weekend long. Once again, go to ntpa.poll.com to check out the schedule and find out the locations of all those polls and all the event information you might need.
Yeah, quick word about those 2 regional events. The Saturday event in Morley, Michigan, they actually pull all day up in Morley. It is called Michigan's trucking capital for a reason. They do love their diesel trucks and semi-trucks up there. And so they'll pull street-legal semis and a number of types of four-wheel drive trucks and also tractors throughout the day. And then the NTPA show gets going at 8 p.m. It is our only 8 p.m. start of the evening. And they just pull well into the night there with several NTPA classes as well. And, of course, Monday you heard the name Urbana twice. because Urbana is also the site of the Enderley Pull-Off, but we pull in a different direction for the Champaign County Fair. We pull one way for Champaign County Fair, and then we turn it around and pull the other direction for the Enderley Pull-Off. We made that decision a few years ago, and I guess it just kind of evens out the dirt. I'm not sure, but whatever. You have a chance to see polls in Urbana 2 different times over the course of one NTPA season. It's great to be in Urbana, Ohio, and Western Ohio, and to enjoy that great facility.
And then one more poll, just kind of given a whole week schedule later next week. Region 2 will also be at the Branch County Fair poll in Coldwater, Michigan.
Yep, and that is, as Dom was saying, that it just heats up Region 2 throughout the entire month of August. Everything that would seem to be Region 3 centric for a good bit of July, we do shifts eastward, and we get a lot of pulling done close to our main office here in Columbus. So.
Sets the stage for a big poll in a couple weeks. So,
yep, yeah, the biggest of them all. So,
all right, that's going to wrap it up here for NTPA Recap Show, episode number 3. John Dunlap, Dom Santina. Any final thoughts, John, before we sign off tonight?
I don't think so at this point. Just want to make sure folks are tuning in to ntpa.tv. No streaming going on this weekend. The next streamed event will be Bowling Green in a few weeks, but you can also watch everything that they've filmed thus far this year on demand at ntpa.tv. So make sure you head over there if you're craving some pull-in video.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
Take care.